All right, you guys, it's like Friday. It's a late afternoon. Me and the son, my daughter was at my oldest son's house. My wife had to work, so me and Drivey went out to breakfast this morning. Went and got some ice cream sandwiches up at like Canyon up the road at the store. I don't even know what the hell they call it. Anyways, I got to deal with my air compressor. It is back here. Let me kind of show you guys where it's at. So I built this room. It's underneath my loft. My air compressor's in there. I have an auto purge on it. I don't know if you can see it down there in the corner. It's supposed to auto purge. It is currently stuck. I think it's stuck closed now. It used to be stuck open, and I'd whack it with a hammer and it would then stop and build pressure again. It's not working. I don't hear it kicking on and off. So I got to pull it apart and see what the hell is going on with it. I'm not 100% sure. But the problem is I mean, you see how close my old truck is to this door. I got to move this old truck. Last time I drove this old truck, I only pull this thing out like once a year. I pull it out, I wash the whole thing, wax it. We take it for a little drive, and then I put it back in here. This truck's been in my family like 4 generations. It's all original. It's still got like 70,000 miles on it. 72, I think it's got. Original miles. My dad had it repainted when he got it. I got to do some little bit of cancer repair in the floorboards and the rockers. It's not a lot. My dad had the one rocker replaced when he owned it. They've both rotted out since. So I got a little bit of work to do there. But I got to move this truck. It's a 3/4 ton V8, 4-barrel carb. I got to move it, and last time I drove it, the fuel pump down in there was pissing fluid like you wouldn't believe. I'm honestly surprised you don't see a big wet spot. Maybe it's been sitting long enough, everything kind of dried up. But it used to sit here where my black Jeep is sitting, and it had a huge pile of gas under it. My shop used to just reek of gas. That's why I haven't really driven it in a while, but I do need to move it. I could literally push this thing out of the way. I'm gonna fix it. I bought the fuel pump for it today. I've never done a mechanical fuel pump in my life. Surprising, everything I've owned has been fuel injected. So I've been a little lucky that way. So I'm gonna do this today. I watched a little video online just to make sure I knew. It looks pretty straightforward. I mean, it's literally 2 bolts and a bolt on the front that holds the rod in when you take the pump off. You drop everything back in, put your bolts in, pull that bolt out of the side that holds the rod up, and then you're good. At some point, I'm gonna have to fix this. This was a jerry rig I did. This sat in my grandma's garage for like at least a year before I brought it out to our house. When we were building this house, it sat there. Well, this line got all messed up and it was leaking fluid, so I did some hokey stuff to just get it together and get it out to my house. I've never addressed it. So once I get this fuel pump in, I'm probably gonna address this too. Trying to find carburetor parts for this. I feel like I had issues before, and that's why I just threw this together. Napa, or local Napa, didn't have anything. None of our local stores did, so I just threw this goofy thing together. But I'm gonna address that too here in a little bit. We do have another project that I'm thinking about taking on. I think you guys heard that in the last video, so I did go look at it. I'm not 100% sure we're gonna do it right now, but it is a turbocharged BMW, and it's just a shell of a car, but it runs. I have a really cool idea what I want to do with it. I don't know if we're gonna do it or not. I haven't decided. The car it runs, but it's rough and there's a lot of stuff missing, and I don't know if it's something I want to take on. The idea I got is pretty cool. We'll see though. But I'll let you guys know if we get that car. It is an all-wheel drive car too, so that's pretty neat. For what I want to do with it, it's going to be pretty awesome. But we do got to get this truck fixed today so I can get it out of the way. Hopefully it starts after I put this fuel pump in it. I might have to put some gas in it. I feel like when I parked it here, it had like nothing showing on the gas gauge, so I might have to get some gas, dump it in there just to get it started. This truck usually a couple pumps and it fires right up, so it's a really good, awesome old truck. I might have to pull it out and spray it off before I put it back in here. It's pretty dusty. It's been sitting at least a year now again. It might have came out and I washed it and drove it around like up to T Road and back, which is a couple blocks. I didn't go very far. Yeah, so we're gonna get that done. I'll kind of show you guys that, and then I gotta pull that air compressor out. I'll show you my automatic purge and how that works. So if it still, I just heard it kick on, but it didn't spray. It's not gonna spray anything because there's no air in it, but it hasn't been spraying even when it's pressurized. So I had to push the Jeep back a little bit. My racer's in here. Had to push it back. It wouldn't start either. I turned the key, it wouldn't start. I got on the front of it and pushed it, got in it, and it fired right up. So I got a ground or a power or something going wrong with it too. So I'm gonna have to address that before next year, probably this winter, I'm guessing. She took a pretty good beat down in the last race in Helen. I hope you guys watched that video and liked it. We kicked butt. It was awesome. Yeah, it's probably the hardest I've ever driven this Jeep to date. It scared my son. It almost scared me. I was actually better about it than the last time we ran in Helena, but it was still pretty quick. It was a pretty quick time. We did smash our header a little bit on this side. It landed so hard, the upper link down here where I don't even know if I can show you guys. No, we can't even get to it. Oh, maybe. No. Something, I don't think it was the upper link. It might have been the side of the housing. It got into the side of my header. I've been contemplating trying to see if I can flip these. Like, flip them upside down so I can run those headers this way and up and out the fenders. I got to do some research, and I don't know if I'm going to have to move this to accomplish it. I don't like the exhaust anyways in this thing. I'd rather just be open headers with a small little dump like right here. I think would be awesome. But we'll see. Because it is really beating the hell out of those headers. Those are like aftermarket Jeep headers. I think they're like $600, but they were on here when I bought it. That and the exhaust cutouts. So yeah, I don't know. Pretty neat. I didn't have to pay for them, so that's sweet. I actually paid, I think I paid $600 for this whole Jeep. So it was worth it just to buy it to get the headers. So yeah, so we'll address that. We're gonna get on this fuel pump. I'm gonna try to get it knocked out here. My wife's supposed to be coming home here shortly from work. So I'm gonna try to get that knocked out so I can move this, so tomorrow I can pull that air compressor out of its closet and spider webs. Oh my gosh, the spiders have been bad out here. I've killed 5 black widows in the last 2 days. Or last week, I guess it's been. But yeah, we'll get that air compressor out and try to get that thing working again for this winter. I'm hoping that tank's not filled with water because it has not been purging, and it's been running pretty much all winter and most of this summer, and I haven't dealt with it. So that's what we got to get to. We got to get it done before I lose another tank and have to make another wood stove like I did over there. So all right, you guys. I wanted to show you this. I'm making the little A's here. So I'm hoping you guys are going to be able to see this. This is going to be really tough. I don't really have any mechanics tools. You guys know that. I'm a fabricator, so this is a little hard for me to get in here. I'm not tall enough to reach over and get this. It looks super simple, but for my height and where this is at and not having the correct tools, it's a little tough to get these bolts out. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great. The one thing I'll tell you, hopefully you guys can see where my finger's at right back here. See this bolt? So I undid this bolt. This is a bolt. It's just a plug, but there's a rod that comes down that runs this mechanical fuel pump. So if you take this front bolt out of your actual, I'm trying to show you guys, there's just so much stuff in the way here. So here's the actual fuel pump. If you take this bolt out of the fuel pump and put it, oh jeez, I just slipped and fell off my bucket because I'm not tall enough. And you put it in this hole, you take out this bolt, put your fuel pump bolt in there, it holds the rod in place. That allows you to take the other bolts out of your fuel pump on the other side, so this thing can come out. I got to disconnect my line still, but that one bolt right there will hold the rod in place so that it doesn't fall down, because if you don't, then the rod falls down. Like I said, this is my first time doing this, but this is kind of what I've seen online. and I've had other people tell me this before when I was going to do this last time and didn't do it. So everything is super greasy in this truck. This motor needs to be pulled out and totally gone through again. My dad converted a lot of it from when we got rid of leaded gas and went to unleaded. You have to do some stuff to these motors. My dad did all that when I was really young, before he gave it to me when I turned 26. So I'm going to get these fuel lines off of here from the bottom. I'm going to cap probably both of them. Actually, probably just the inlet from the tank, because it's going to piss fluid, because I know there's none in this line. We're going to get that out and get the new one installed. I got the new one right here from Napa. I shop local. Can you guys believe that? I actually bought something local, even though it was twice the price. I could get this same fuel pump online for 18 bucks, and I just paid $33 for it because I wanted it done so I could get this done, pretty much. I didn't want to wait another week for a new one to come in. So I shop local. Aren't you proud of me? I'm sure Napa's happy too, because that was way more than it should have been. Anyways, so we're going to get those lines out. I'm going to get this pulled out. I'll put yeah, it's going to take me a little bit. You guys can see this truck is like right at chest height for me. So it is pretty hard for me to reach down in there. I've been standing on this bucket and falling off of it like 4 or 5 times. So that's been super fun. I love mechanicking, but we'll get that out. I'll show you guys. I'm going to have to figure out some way to keep the bolts. The bolt will probably hold it. There's like a little paper gasket that's got to go in between it, that can handle gas to seal that pump up. And there's 2 bolt holes, so it's got to go through both holes. So we'll see how this goes. I'm hoping it's not a struggle. Like I said, I don't really have mechanics tools, so you know, this was too big to get in there. This was a little too small. This is quarter drive. The socket was actually hitting the back of the fuel pump here. I don't have a wobbly, I'm just not a mechanic, you guys. I don't have these tools that would make this way easier. But I did get it off there. It took me maybe 10-15 minutes. It's just kind of a pain. I hate it. But we'll get those lines off. We'll get this new pump in here. Like I said, I'm going to probably pour some gas in this truck. We'll see. Might have to go get some gas to pour in here. All right, guys. I had to show you this. So this, essentially, there's my fuel pump. I got it out. Let me turn the slide on, see if it helps. I got stuff everywhere right now. All right, so fuel pump. This filter was right there. I took this off. I started looking at this line. It is pretty haggard. Yeah, I didn't like it. The good thing is I started digging through. So when I built that big black Jeep, I didn't really know what I was doing. So I accumulated all these totes. This is all stuff that I bought that I thought I needed for that Jeep when I was building it, because I didn't know. A lot of it's wiring from the 2 different motors that I put in there that I just kept, and I've been using the wires here and there to do random stuff. I got a lot of air hose, and I'm gonna use that air hose too. Random stuff. But this was a good day today. So I have this is like fuel line, from when I did that big black Jeep. I had to extend the fuel lines. So I have that, so I'm gonna be able to cut a piece off. To extend that, I'll use the same clamps that are on here. We'll put that onto the new pump. You guys can see there's a little bit of difference between the pumps. So that has a square one, this has like a hex. It shouldn't be a big deal. It's all the same fittings from what I can tell. I will verify these are the same. It looks the same. These are definitely the same, these end pieces. And those look like at least 1/2 inch. I think they're probably pipe more than likely, but they look identical. So these pumps are just a little different, but they should work exactly the same. I will get that on there with a new piece. I am really glad that this actually happened, because I knew I had some fuel lines somewhere to replace that with. So I started digging. Well, I come across this. I forgot I had this. This is aught gauge battery cable. And I don't know if I showed you guys this. This was a project I was gonna record for you guys and do. I didn't want to spend the money on the cable. The cable is way too much. So I got these. That's a positive, negative side. We're gonna move the battery in the racer to the back. Trying to move a little bit more weight back to the back. And like I said, I bought these like months ago, but this aught gauge cable is so expensive right now. Like, I don't know if anyone's bought any electrical stuff, but it is through the roof. So I dug through the bottom of that tote after I found that. I'm like, what else is in here? And in the bottom of that tote right there was that aught gauge cable that'll get me to the back. I'll use this. What I'll end up doing is, since this is black aught gauge, this will be my power coming from the front to the back. I'll get red heat shrink and new cable connects for this, eyelets like that I can solder on, and I'll use red so that I know this is a positive side, and I'll use this one as my negative that I'll ground to the body somewhere. These two literally will be where my battery currently is. I'll mount those to the probably the fender. Come from here. From here, this one will just ground. This positive will go to the back with this cable. Then my battery will ground with it from the back. So I'm gonna build a full custom aluminum battery box for the back that'll be bolted into the back just to get some weight to the ass end of that thing. I'm trying to keep it from nosediving. That's why I put the spare tire in it. I'm contemplating filling the spare tire with water or concrete. I don't know. It's nosediving pretty hard still. So maybe new coils in the front might help. Maybe I've collapsed them. I'll look at that this winter, but I am going to get this done. That'll be one of our next projects once I get this fuel pump in and that air tank or my air compressor fixed. So I am going to put, like I said, new lines. I'll leave the filter that way. I'll leave the filter on there. And I'm going to look, now that I've found this, I'm going to look at the other lines. Whoa. From the hard line to the truck down to this filter, it's this same stuff. I kind of felt it when I was pulling it out. It's getting a little hard, so I might replace it because I do have plenty of this stuff here. Like I said, I bought all that way back in the day, like when I was 19. It was super cheap, and I just had it up here. I'm a little bit of a hoarder when it comes to car stuff because I don't really know what I'm doing most of the time, and I just make it work. I got enough common sense to figure something out. Yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna get this done. We'll get it thrown in there. I'll show you guys where I get once I get this stuff together. So I got this back together. This is 3/8 fuel line. I did want to show you guys this. This is the stuff that I found that I've been using in the past. If you look at it, there's like little white fibers in it. And this stuff says right on it that it's designed for fuel. Trying to get a grip on it, it's kind of long. Let's see if I can find where it says right here. Yeah. So it says XL fuel line 3/8. So I know this stuff can handle fuel. So if you guys are wondering, that's what I got. I got it from Napa like a long time ago, and I just got a huge roll of it because I didn't know how much I was going to need. I was young, living at home with my parents, so I just bought extra of everything in case I ever needed to fix something. It's kind of one of the things with four-wheel driving, you know, shit breaks. So yeah, that thing brought me a lot of extra parts. So I'm glad I had that because I would have had to drive all the way to Napa all the way into town for that little piece. Yeah, so I might actually do the line on the truck too. I'm going to check it out, see what it is from the hard line to where it goes in to the fuel filter there. See what that looks like. Huh. I think my dad had this fuel filter in wrong. No, he didn't. That's right, because this is a pump. This is the outlet side. No. This is the outlet side, I think. Pretty sure that's the outlet. I'm going to have to look at it. Yeah, I know it is. Yeah, filter's in there backwards. Huh. Yeah, I see an arrow on this filter right here. I didn't notice it before. There's an arrow actually in that. Let's see if I can get you a better view of it. Yeah, see inside of that? I'm going to have to check to make sure that's going the right way. I think my dad had it in backwards. I feel like that's the inlet side from the tank. The fuel should be going that way and out the high pressure side. Or out this side. I don't know if it's high pressure side. I'm assuming because it's tapered. I'm going to have to double check that because I think he's got that in backwards. Or he had it in right, and I'm going to watch the video back to make sure that I didn't just put it in there backwards. Maybe he had it in there the right way and I screwed up. I'm going to look that up because something doesn't seem right to me there. Common sense, I guess, says something's not right. All right, guys. I want to tell you that was super easy, and it didn't push my patience at all. But you can see there's a battery right there. That piece. And my flashlight's somewhere. I absolutely destroyed my flashlight. I was done. I had enough, and there's parts and pieces. I destroyed it over the roll cage of my Jeep. This thing pushed me to the edge. That's how much I love mechanicking. So, just so you guys know, this is what I use. So, 9/16 socket, 3/8 drive ratchet, and an extension. That pulled out the bolt that holds the rod, that caps off the hole for the rod. On the other side, where the fuel pump, the 2 bolts for the fuel pump, I would highly suggest this. I got it out without the wobbly. It's a 7/16. I got it out without the wobbly. Trying to get it back in, I lost my shit. I'm not gonna lie. I absolutely destroyed my flashlight on the roll cage of my Jeep because I was pretty pissed. This bucket I was standing on kept sliding out because I'm not quite tall enough to reach all the way up and in. And it's right next to the frame. And I didn't have this wobbly. I finally lost my shit, broke my flashlight to feel better about the situation, which it made me feel better after breaking something that wasn't on this old truck. And I finally looked through my toolbox and I dug and dug and dug, and I found this 1/4-inch wobbly that a buddy of mine, Tyler, gave me. Thank you, Tyler, for these tools, man. Like, what I did this with was what you gave me, or I probably would have still been here breaking shit. But yeah, so I used that 1/4-inch ratchet, long extension, short extension. That was just an extra I had. Wobbly and a 7/16 are the bolts that bolt the fuel pump in. Pain in my ass. Yeah, just because it's so close to the frame in there. I did get it back in with the gasket. The one thing I did notice, this must be a little bit of a problem because they send you with 2 gaskets in case you mess one up, I guess. I don't know. Like I said, I'm no mechanic, but I did get the fuel pump in there with the gasket behind it. It was not easy. I got the bolt back in. I will tell you guys also, when I ran that bolt in the front that was supposed to hold that rod, there must have been a bunch of gunk in the hole. I thought I had the rod held back when I undid the bolts for the fuel pump. I went to put fuel pump back in, and it's like it wouldn't go. So I flashed my light in the hole where the fuel pump mounts right there. That rod fell down. The bolt wasn't all the way against it. So what I ended up doing, I used these long needle nose pliers, and I got in there and I lifted that rod up. As I held this in one hand up, tightened that bolt even more, got through all the crud and gunk that was in the threads, so it actually held it. Then I reached under, I got underneath that rod and lifted it up, and then tightened that bolt the rest of the way in. The bolt did eventually hold it up once I got it in far enough. It's just there was gunk in those threads, and it wasn't allowing me to hold that rod where it needed to be. Once I got it up, the fuel pump went right in. If you do this, the fuel pump, it doesn't quite fit perfect if you don't get it under that rod. It will allow you to thread those bolts in, so just make sure you guys, when you're doing it, make sure you get that rod up. Because I actually got the one bolt started and I felt like something wasn't quite right, so I undid the bolt and looked. It was not underneath that rod, and it's got to be in order to pump the fuel. That rod moves like that, and it pushes the lever on the fuel pump this way, and that's what pumps it. The faster you go, the faster it moves. The more gas it pumps. So it's pretty critical you get it under there. The only thing I can imagine it was doing is it would bend the arm off the fuel pump going this way if you didn't get it underneath that rod, I think. I don't know internally what it would do. I can't imagine anything because it'd be further this way and it wouldn't be hitting any of the rotating assembly in the motor. But I don't know for sure. Like I said, I'm no mechanic. I just know when I tried to put that in there, it felt wrong when I was trying to get the other bolt in, and I undid the original bolt and looked, and I was like, oh, the rod's down. So I knew that bolt that goes in this way wasn't holding it. So I did get those in. I got to get the lines connected. I'm I'm gonna get these lines connected. I was hoping to have this done tonight so I could pull this truck out. I wanted to wash it off because it is, oh man, it's covered in dust from sitting here for a year. But I think I'm gonna finish hooking these lines up, see if I can get it to start, check for leaks, and then in the morning I'll pull the racer out, and then I'll get this outside, and I'm gonna probably pressure wash it off, get her all cleaned up, give her a little bath because she's pretty dirty. I mean, you guys probably can't see it in the camera, maybe. There, yeah, there we go. There's a layer of just filth on this truck. This is actually a really pretty truck. It's pretty rare too because it's aqua on aqua. Interior's aqua, exterior's aqua. And it has the original VIN plate that's in a leather case with an aluminum hand-stamped VIN number on it, which is really cool too. That's apparently pretty rare. Yeah, I love this truck, man. A lot of sentimental value in it. I've done a lot of work to this truck and just trying to keep it nice. I'm gonna do a ton more work to this, you guys. You'll see this in future videos for sure. But we're gonna get this fuel pump. I'm gonna get those lines hooked up. I will tell you, if you guys are doing this, I would disconnect the fuel lines first. I don't have fuel line wrenches. Like I said, I'm not a mechanic. I use this as a 3/4 wrench to actually hook on the water pump. This is a 5/8 wrench to loosen the line. It did it. It was tight. It would have been way easier if I would have loosened the lines first. I then undid the fuel pump bolts. So if you guys are doing it, do the lines first, then loosen the fuel. I don't know why I didn't. Normally I would. I don't know. In a hurry, wasn't using my brain. But yeah, those are way up in there. Oh man. So I got 2 lines to hook on. Oh, where did that go? I might have lost a hose clamp under here. Yeah, there was a hose clamp on here. I'm gonna have to find that guy. But yeah, that's the line that goes to the fuel filter. I did look this up on the video. The fuel filter was in there the same way it was originally, even though line's saying that's got to go to the carburetor. I'm assuming this isn't the original filter for this thing. I'm guessing it's something my dad put in. It's probably the only thing that's not 100% original on this truck. And I'm guessing they put it in there the way the arrow pointed and it wouldn't flow gas, so they flipped it and it worked fine. I put it back in there the same way it came out. I watched the videos back, you guys, and made sure it was the same way. It is, so I'm pretty confident it's gonna still work even though the markings are saying flip it. But yeah, I'm gonna have to find this hose clamp now that I knocked it off of there. It's gotta be around here somewhere. So we'll get that line hooked up. This line right here goes into there. Yeah, and then we should be ready to start this thing up. We'll see. Hopefully the fuel pump works because I don't want to take that thing back out. It kind of sucked, I'm not gonna lie. All right, you guys. I just want you guys to know how much I'm struggling. Just so you guys know that you're not the only ones that struggle with this kind of crap. Though I ran out of, no, I didn't run out of. I lost one of the hose clamps that connects the fuel pump lines to the actual lines. I don't know where it went. It went flying somewhere. I can't find it anywhere. I looked everywhere, but I did dig through my boxes up there, those blue totes, because I found all sorts of good stuff in there today, and I found 2 more hose clamps. This was a line that was on, I believe what it was, it ran the onboard air for my black Jeep right there. I think it was a line that I used to have connected right there. And the problem with this is, out of this is a York air conditioning pump that I converted to pump air. The problem with it is it gets really hot out of that. That's got to be a stainless steel high pressure kind of line to handle the heat. And I feel like this is the line that used to be there. And I kept melting it and blowing it up. And I finally took it off and went to the cat dealer and got that. It's actually a stainless steel line, braided line. But I had this, so, and I need one of those clamps because I lost it. So I actually didn't even get to start this thing. I've been digging, looking all over, finally looking those totes again, and there's what I needed right there. So I got 2 of them. I'm gonna pull one of them off. We're gonna. Oh geez, I've been struggling, you guys. I got a razor blade to cut this hose off, but it's a gear clamp. I can just undo it and pull it off of there. This is how my night's been going. And it's a Friday night. I'm struggling bad. But we are so close to being done. We're really close. My brain's just not working. It's just been one of them nights. Oh, hey, I did get a haircut too, you guys. Woo! No more mullet. Got rid of the mullet. Was not growing a mullet, it just happened. I refused to stand in line to get a haircut. So finally found a place. I walked in and they cut me that day. So got rid of the mullet. But now we're getting close to winter, so the beard's gonna start growing back out. So we'll see. But I'm gonna get that line, that hose clamp put on there, that line on there. And we're gonna try to pump some gas and see if we can get this girl to fire up. She's been sitting a while. It should fire right up. It usually does. Even after sitting in my grandma's garage for 2 years, I pumped this thing, I cranked on it a couple times after jumping it, and it fired right up. And then spewed gas out of the carburetor everywhere, and then I had to do that janky stuff you saw earlier. So, which I will address. I'm hoping I'm going to address it this week. We'll see. I don't know. I know it was hard to, when I was originally looking for the parts, to try to find them. So maybe one of the things where I order and you guys see it later. Yeah, seems like a lot of work just to move this truck to work on my air compressor. But it's got to be done. Like, this thing's been leaking for a while, so we'll get her knocked out. I'll show you guys. I wish I had somebody to just sit here and record so you guys could see. You're not the only ones that struggle with this stuff. Like I said, I'm no mechanic. I do the same thing when I'm fabricating too. It's just sometimes shit don't go your way. That's kind of where I'm at tonight. It's just everything's a fight. But we're close. I'm going to get this last hose clamp on, find the keys to this truck. I'm pretty sure they're hanging up in the shop, hopefully. If not, I'm gonna have to dig for them because it's been a while. We'll get this thing fired up. I'm hoping to show you guys. I'll pull this thing out and wash it and kind of give you guys a run through of it. It's a good truck. You guys will see it in the future. I got to do some rust repair. I kind of told you that earlier, but this truck's awesome. I love this truck. I told you this girl, she's awesome. She's running. Literally a couple pumps, turned her over for a little bit, got the fuel to the fuel pump, or to the fuel filter into the fuel pump, let it sit for a minute, got in, turned the key, bam, she fired right up. She's been sitting for at least a year, and she's running like a top, dude. I love this little truck, man. It don't matter what you do to it, it just freaking fires up and runs. Yeah, totally 100% original, you guys. She's smoking just a little bit. Sometimes the high idle sticks on just for a little bit when she first starts, and you give her a little rev and she kicks down and just runs like a top, man. I think we're gonna pull her out tomorrow. I'll give her a bath. Yeah. I will tell you, the only thing that's not original on this truck, so that I actually have the original oil bath air filter in that thing. I've converted it. I took the oil bath out of it and I put like a newer, like 80s style filter in it. But I took the 80s style, like the actual outside of it, this part, and I cut it on my Plows and set it in there so I could put like an 80s style filter in it, a round filter, like a small block Chevy filter in it. Just because I didn't want the oil bath, because we know what K&N air filters do to everything. I'm not a huge fan of oiled filters. They serve a purpose, but when you get them all clogged up, especially in fuel injected cars, they cause some issues. I had a Maxima that it wiped out map sensors and all sorts of stuff, so I actually converted this one. It looks stock factory, and I have the factory oil bath filter over there in my bench, but this is actually a newer style filter. When I pull it out tomorrow, I'll pull that top off and show you guys kind of what I did. I did that back when my parents first gave it to me. because my dad had this chrome thing that wasn't original, and this truck's almost 100%. The only thing that's not original on this truck are the rims. We got rid of the Widowmaker rims like a long time ago. The split wheels, they're just super dangerous. These are off like a newer like 70s style, maybe even 80s style, like square body Chevy, but they're like super perfect. Like I got these when I worked at a tire store. I threw them on here to try to get it close to original. The hubcaps, these are some hacked up ones. I'm still looking for the original fronts. I got the original rears and I've repainted them all by hand. So I got the original rears. This is a 3/4 ton, so these are 12-inch, not 10-inch, like the half tons. Half tons have 10-inch center, like the ones on the wall over there. I don't know if you can see them, the middle ones. Those are half ton 10-inch ones. So I'm still looking for these 12-inch ones for the front of this thing with the stock cutout. Somebody's hacked these ones out, and I've kind of beat the dents out of them and put them on here just to try to get it closer to original. I think I'm going to take these mud flaps off someday. I think those are the only other thing that my dad put on here that are not original to this truck. I'm kind of looking at it. I might have to do some radiator stuff someday. It's like it's leaking a little bit, not super bad. Obviously we got some oil leaks that need to be addressed someday, and all the way under this truck. Someday I'd like to pull the whole running gear out and do the whole truck back to perfect non-leaking specifications, and I do have one dent right there. So one dent I put in this truck, I hit the roller, the fair lead on my Jeep, pulling it into my other garage. I hit it when we lived in our other house, and I just barely bumped it one night. So I'm gonna have to pound that dent out and try to buff that someday, hopefully. But other than that, this truck's pretty mint. So it's running now. We'll get this thing pulled out tomorrow. I'll wash it. I'll do like a run through on this truck, you guys, because you guys are going to see this in the future. I got some rust repair to do in the rockers, both sides, a little bit of the floor. It's really funny in this video, this truck looks a lot more like blue, and it's really, really aqua colored. I don't know if it's the lighting. I did lose my bay light right there too. That's the newest bay light I bought, and I lost it last week. It started flickering and causing all sorts of issues, so I climbed up there and unhooked that thing. So I'm gonna have to buy a new one of them too, and that's the new one. I look for warranty and I don't see one. So yeah, that's where we're at, guys. I'll get you tomorrow. I'm gonna pull this out and we're gonna wash it. Maybe there's a lot of stuff in the back of it that's just been there for like storage because I have nowhere else to put it. We'll see. You can see it's running a little rich. I don't know if you see the blue smoke in here. She's running a little rich. It's been a while. All right, guys. We finished up the old truck yesterday. We got it running last night. It actually fired up and ran. Got in it this morning. He didn't want to fire again. Not this morning, it's like late afternoon. We went and picked up something. I'll show you guys that here in a minute too. But there wasn't it wasn't opening up. There was no gas in it. I put some gas that I had from a foiler in it. Opened the carburetor up and it started squirting gas again. Then it fired right back up. So we did get it. Here it is. Yeah, she's a little dirty. She's been sitting in there a while, so I may have to wash it. I was gonna wash it, but there's a bunch of stuff in the back. Like I said, you guys see this in future videos, but I got a little bit of rust here I gotta fix on the floors and these rockers, inner and outer rockers on both sides. Other than that, this truck's pretty straight. My dad had it painted when he had it, so it's a nice truck. I've went through and repainted all the black decals all the way around the entire truck. New hubcaps, or old hubcaps that I've kind of repainted. But yeah, you can see this rocker is a little bit, it's pretty bad on this side, so it does need a new rocker. But that's videos to come. But I did get it out of the garage, so we're gonna pull my air compressor out of there. We're gonna work on it. I told you guys I was gonna build a flatbed for my plow truck. Man, metal's expensive, like super expensive. I put a feeler out on Facebook, see if anyone had one, a flatbed that they were willing to get rid of cheap. One of my buddies came through, man. He had one. He didn't charge me very much for it. It's a little rough, you guys. You can probably see that this is pretty bent. I'm gonna try to straighten it, maybe. I may just rebuild that part. The wood's pretty bad on it too, you guys. But it's flatbed, man. It's better than the box that I had on my truck. I got some wowies I gotta fix here. Like I said, I'm gonna go to metal. I'm taking all this wood off. I'll put some braces in here and probably buy 2 sheets of probably 10 gauge and deck this thing with metal. You can see it was a little bent right here, but I didn't pay a whole lot for this thing, so he gave me a pretty good deal. I gotta admit, I'm not complaining about what I paid for it. It was a good deal. Considering the price of metal, literally what I priced out for that flatbed was just the frame and 2 runners on the frame rail. It was over $800, and I didn't even come close to paying that for this. So just the metal alone, I'm guessing this, I was gonna build it out of square. This is channel, C channel, so I'm guessing there's at least $700-800 in metal here. But I didn't come anywhere near paying that amount for it, so I appreciate it. Thank you, Shaun, if you're watching, man. We're gonna get good use out of this, so you guys will be seeing that in later videos. We're gonna start throwing that on the plow truck. But today I gotta fix that air compressor before winter hits. I'm afraid my tank's filling with water. So we're gonna get it out there, see if we can drain the water that's in it, if there is any water in it. I'm guessing there is, and try to get the automatic kickoff to start working again. So it's kind of where we're at today, my loft. This is probably part of my shop that you guys have not seen. So I built all this out of pallets, I don't know, 2-3 years ago. The only thing I bought were these floor joists, and the stringers I think I had, but all the floor joists running this way, I had to buy like 6 of them, 8 of them maybe. I got these lights from work. They redid all their lights, and they had piles and piles of these, so I grabbed a bunch of them. I got enough for under here, enough for above the loft, and I got some for my shed too. Shit. Sorry, that scared the crap out of me. Spiderweb. That thing was making noise and it scared the hell out of me. My door drags just a little bit down here, but it never really opens that far because the truck's sitting here all the time. And there's one little spot right here where it's high and it drags. So I'm gonna go grab some gloves. We're gonna pull this bad boy out of here. This air compressor I've built. You guys seen my fireplace over there on the other side? It's the original tank for this Puma. It rotted out of the bottom because it filled with water because I didn't drain it enough or whatever. It just didn't last very long. But I pulled everything off that and put it on here because this compressor on this tank was bad. So I just swapped everything over to this tank and it's been working great since. Till now, I can't literally drain that. I'll get this pulled out of here and show you guys a little better view of what I got going on with my automatic kickoff or purge. It should purge and it doesn't. You hear it kick on. It just kicked on, you heard it. But it's not purging any air. Even when the tank's full, it should be, when you hear that, it should be busting a bunch of air out of there to blow the water out of the bottom of this tank, and it's not working. It'll buzz, but it won't let the water out. So I'm gonna take that, there's a little valve right back there. Hopefully you can see it. I'll get a better picture when I get this out of this closet, but that thing's supposed to purge water out while it's running, so as you're building condensation, it just ain't working. So we're gonna get on that today. I'll get it pulled out of there. I'll show you guys a little closer view. I think I'm gonna rerun the actual lines coming out, so I actually have a manual bleed off and that automatic kickoff where it purges. Just because right now, like, I'm kind of stuck in a rock and a hard place. I can't drain it because that purge valve's there and there's no drain. So I'm gonna probably have to run down to Ace and buy some parts, see if I can get that purge to start working, and have a manual where I can just crack it and it'll bleed. So I'll show you what I get when I get there, guys. All right, guys. I got this thing pulled out. I got it pulled out. I plugged it in. The good thing about my shop, all my 220 plugs are all the same, so my welding cords work on my air compressor My air compressor is also 220. I don't like to mess around with electricity. It's not gonna do much. Like running stuff on 110 when you're doing shop stuff just isn't enough for me, to me at least. This thing must have froze up in the winter. I did have a valve on here. Forgot I put this valve on. The only problem with it is it goes through this all the time. The one problem with that is I shut the valve off. So you guys heard this thing kick on, bing, and it ran like that. Well, look what it's doing. It's dumping water out right now. So I had that valve closed all winter. This thing was kicking on and off. I'm guessing this thing froze up. Not really froze up, but stuck one way. I'm guessing it's stuck open, so I shut the valve off. And now my tank filled with water. Not a good thing. So I think I'm gonna redesign this. I don't like it at all. I'm gonna pull this board off first. I already pulled this one off. I'm gonna pull this one off. And then if you look under there, I got a 90 down there. I'm gonna make that a double-ended 90 with a valve on it probably. So it'll come down this way. I'll be able to purge it manually just with the valve going straight down. Oh, see, now it's starting to open up a little better. See, that thing should be going like when it used to purge, it would purge really good. I'm guessing there's a lot of oil, debris, rust maybe inside this. So I'm gonna pull all this crap off, and I'm gonna make a manual purge. Plus I'm gonna have this. So this will be open all the time manually or automatically purging it. But I also want a secondary purge that will purge it straight down. So I'm gonna get rid of this board so I can go down a little bit. This might be, whoa, jeez, scared the crap out of me. Yeah, look at that thing. It's trying to work now. It's just gummed up, I think. Anyways, so instead of having this 90 here, I'm gonna come straight out and I'll have a purge going that way and this way. This will be a manual one that I can just turn and it'll purge it straight down. So I can turn this valve off over here to not use the automatic purge. That way if in the winter, if this thing gets stuck, my automatic purge, I can just manually open this and drain it. So I don't have this problem again. I'm guessing this tank has quite a bit of water in it now. It's hard to tell. But I am gonna have to pull that valve apart for sure. Because literally that thing should be just being like shooting air, like as if you crack that open, it should be just like that, but there's something wrong with it for sure. So I'm gonna pull this apart, figure out what the hell's going wrong with it, what's going on with the tank. It's Sunday. We went out to dinner last night, whole family, so, well, except for Kyla because she's sleeping at a friend's house. We're back on this air compressor. I figured out what was going on. So this automatic purge thing, it is working just fine. I took everything off. You can see I kind of got, maybe. So what was happening during the winter, I got this long pipe that hooks to the bottom of my air compressor down there. And this is the automatic purge. What was going on is the water that it made during the winter, I think got in here and kind of not really froze it up, but made it so it couldn't open and close. So this stopped working. So I actually forgot I had put this valve on there and I shut the valve. So it would stop pushing water through my automatic purge. So that's why I was kicking on and not purging during the summer. The winter it froze up. As soon as I turned it on, it started kind of spitting out a bunch of water. The other problem I have, when I put this air compressor together, the original compressor and stuff that was on this, it was going bad. It was super loud and noisy and it was rough. It was leaking a ton of oil in here. I've had this, I don't know, 3-4 years, this tank now. It's still, from the old compressor part, it was dumping a bunch of oil in here. So it's made this like film on the whole inside of this compressor that's kind of spitting out oily, watery kind of mess. So it actually clogged the bottom of this, the very bottom of this tank. There's a, let me see if I can get down here. There's this fitting. It actually clogged that hole. So I tipped this down on its side. I ran a drill bit through it, and it blew out a bunch of like black particle-y, rusty. Yeah, it was rank. But what that was doing was blocking off the end of my fitting here. So the air actually wasn't going through it. So when this thing normally kicks on, it was like, psh, like actually would spray. This thing was like just piddling out. So I'm gonna do something a little different now. I'm gonna change this up a little. I went and bought this morning. It's a T. I'm gonna put that T right there. So I have a manual drain right here, and it'll drain straight down. The good thing about it is I can pop this out and I can run a drill bit all the way through this. I don't have to take this whole contraption out, just this piece, and I can poke a hole through this to get it to clear out the chunks that it's forming from the rust and debris and oil and water that's inside my tank. The good thing about it is I'll be able to shut this valve off in the winter so it's not going through here and it won't freeze and crack this. It shouldn't, most of the components on this are metal, so it shouldn't hurt it too bad. It should be able to handle it. My shop's not heated year round, especially in that closet where this air compressor's at, so there is a potential there that could freeze and break, but at least with this I can shut it off, then I can just manually drain it every time. The other thing is if this, you know, starts malfunctioning, stops working, or gets stuck on one way, I can still drain it now. During the winter when this froze up, it was just open, it would just constantly spraying, so I shut that off so I could build pressure. This way I can shut that off and I can still drain it here after I use it for the day. So we're going to get on putting all this together. I got to get that off there. I got to find some Teflon tape to get this put in. Hopefully a lot of you guys, this is just like a petcock. You just screw it one way, unscrew it the other way, and it lets the air out. They're pretty simple. I was going to put a ball valve like this. It made it too low underneath my air compressor, so it's going to be hard to get to. This is just a little bit shorter version. You can see with it on there, it's about half the length, so I like this just a little bit better. I am a little worried about having to stick my hand under there because we do have spiders out here. You guys know we have black widows like crazy, so I'll have to be a little careful when I reach under there just to make sure that there's no spiders. But other than that, I think it's going to work pretty good, especially during the winter. It'll kind of hopefully solve my problem here. So we're going to put this in there, get all this put together. We're going to test our automatic purge. We'll test this to make sure that it'll actually drain. Then we'll call this thing a wrap, get stuck back in the closet, and pull everything back in. I'm going to probably, we'll see how far I make it today. I might start unloading that flatbed. It's going to be, oh boy, it's going to be janky, you guys. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to use my winch cable off my big Jeep. I'm probably going to have to put a jump pack on it because I'm sure the battery's done. And I'm going to run my winch cable up to there. And I'm going to put 2x6s across these rafters right next to the garage door, trying to get as close to the wall as possible because this thing's going to be heavy. I'm just going to lift it up just enough to back my plow truck under it. We'll see how this goes. I don't know. I might have to run a forklift to set that on there because I'm going to have to make different mounts because that flatbed came off a Ford. So right width, right length. It's just got some real janky mounts on the bottom of it. You know, what I might do first is just rip all the wood off of it because the wood's done, it's toast. I haven't decided if I'm gonna go back to wood or buy a couple sheets of like diamond plate 10 gauge. I'd like to do that because then it's permanent. I just gotta have to put other structure in there on that flatbed because it's a flatbed, but it's just not the highest quality flatbed in the world. And it's a little twanged and beat up, so we'll see where I get with that, you guys. I can't promise nothing today. Me and Drive, my wife went to church, so me and Drive might drive up to Lincoln and go to the, they got like a trading post up there. They got like jerky. It's a high country jerky store. And saltwater taffy and all sorts of stuff. So me and Drive might run up there and go do that. So we'll see where I get, what I decide to do. I kind of would need to go hang out with Drive. I haven't hung out with him a ton. I've been trying to do it at least once a week, hang out with the kids. When the weekends roll around, I obviously hang out with them during the week when I get off work, but just on the weekends I like to try to at least take 1 or 2 days and just go hang out with my kiddos, just so they know I love them. Oh, all right, you guys. I had to show you guys this. This is see that crud in there? That is what was plugging up the bottom of my air tank. So kind of pulling this apart and trying to clean some of it out. I mean, look at this stuff, you guys. It is just thick. Yeah. It's almost like mud, but it's just oil and crap. Oh wow, that whole pipe is plugged in there. I'm gonna pull this the rest of the way apart and clean this piece out. This is the first piece that comes out past that 90. So we're gonna have to do something with it. We'll get it cleaned out and the rest of the parts put back together. All right, everyone. We kind of got this working. Kinda. I think my this little guy here, I think it took a crap on me. I got it plugged in. I've been waiting and checking, and I don't even hear the power going to it now. I think it finally gave up the ghost. And I noticed it's just barely leaking. I can just barely hear it going. So I don't know if the spring is smoked inside of here, because this is essentially a shaft. It has a spring with a little, essentially, stopper on it, and when it purges that, it pulls that spring up, or yeah, it pulls the spring up and allows the air to go through it. It's not kicking on no matter what setting I put it on here. I noticed it's kind of coming apart here between them. It must be years of use for me beating on this right here in the winter trying to get it to unfreeze. You can hear it's just barely. But I've tried 2 different extension cords. I tried plugging it right into the wall. It's not kicking on and off. So I'm going to order a new one of them. I think we're going to call this a wrap though, because I did get my other valve right here put in. So now I can drain it there. I can also, if I need to, pull that off and run a drill bit through here if this thing gets all caked up again. I did mark this so I know which way to turn it, because sometimes you forget. So mark it open, turn it that way. Hello, dummy. Don't forget. So we're going to call this wrap. I'm going to stick this back in here. I've got a new one of those in my Amazon cart. I'm going to try to get it ordered so I can get it back on here, because when it does work, it works very well. It definitely keeps the water out of this tank, which is very critical if you guys have one of these. These things essentially turn into a bomb once the bottom starts rusting out. That's why I got rid of the old tank. It started rusting out. And what it'll do, it'll get a little pinhole, and then all of a sudden, when you build up a bunch of pressure, that pinhole lets go and this tank just explodes. I've seen guys online get hit by these and thrown over fences up against garages, and they're just a little dangerous when they start getting all rusted out like that. They're like a ticking time bomb. That's why I got rid of my old tank. I heard a little tss in it, and I just pulled the tank. So traded some work to get this tank, built some rockers for a Jeep, and I got this whole air compressor for free. So I used the tank off of it, and it's kind of where we're at. Like I said, I'm gonna order that. I think we're gonna call the fuel pump on the truck and this a wrap. I will get that ordered and I'll get it replaced. You guys probably won't see it. We're gonna move on to something else. Next video will probably be on that flatbed. I do got to get that done because winter is coming. It's still a little ways away, but I'm trying to wrap up some stuff that needs done before winter. I'll probably have to I got to get that flatbed on there because I need that truck to plow. We get some pretty wicked drifts out here sometimes, so I'll be back on that guy here doing some sketchy crap, trying to get that flatbed off that trailer and onto the bed of that truck. I don't know. It's going to be iffy at best. So I'll show you guys where I get when I get.